Joe Biden said that he wished he can square off with Donald Trump in his old neighborhood. He actually went on the Howard Stern show and talked about a little bit about his childhood and how he stood up to bullies when he was a kid, and how he wished he could square off with Donald Trump. And it's just really fascinating listening to stuff like this. You can tell the guy isn't doing well. Things aren't going well when you're having those type of conversations and you're running against somebody like Donald Trump. That's not a good sign. The fact that you have to go on a Howard Stern show to get your voice out there, I mean, that's fine. Nothing against Howard Stern. It's just that Howard Stern is very much anti-Trump, very much pro Biden. He's going to go super soft on him, and Biden is actually avoiding interviews with the New York Times. He avoided the 60 Minute interview. It's really embarrassing, and he should be concerned because things aren't looking good across the country. For example, you have the chaos with these college campuses, with these pro-Palestine groups. I'm sure a lot of them, some people are passionate about protecting the Palestinian people, but let's be honest, a lot of people view this as an opportunity to display their hatred of Israel and to another further extent Jews. When I grew up in certain areas, well, it didn't really matter. I noticed that the the anti-Jewish sentiment was something I could find just about anywhere. Whether it didn't matter where I lived, I could find it everywhere, everywhere. And it's amazing how certain people use certain groups of people to justify their own failures, or failures of society, their own personal failures. They just blame it all on this one group. I'm not saying that everybody who's criticizing Israel right now and their actions in Gaza are a part of that group, but I'm saying it's a very real segment. It's a very real phenomenon. You have people showing up at these protests, trying to set up camps and shut down uh, the whole college campus, preventing people from going to classes. You got people holding up signs saying KKK, LAPD, IDF are all the same. Just stupid stuff like that. You got the Queers for Palestine stuff. I'm thinking, okay, if you were actually in that population, how would that go for you? It's the irrational behavior. But this is all happening on the left, and basically, when they had a Democratic convention, if Joe Biden's still the nominee, he's going to have to deal with this. He's going to have a big problem. How are they going to resolve this? Because it's going to be hard to keep this, put this cat right back into the bag. It's a mess. College campuses are a big disappointment in general. Here's a story: UCLA students forced to take mandatory fat positivity class, health equity class. It's complete nonsense. You're not helping people by talking about how it's okay to be unhealthy. I'm a fat guy, and I acknowledge that. Okay, why can't we be in touch with reality? It's ridiculous. Okay, and these required classes, it's a mandatory. When I A lot of these criminal justice programs, for example, why couldn't they have more practical classes? They spend so much time talking about theory and all this, and Karl Marx and all this other stuff, and people just forget about that crap because it doesn't have any real relevance to the real world. It's not relevant to the real world. It doesn't help you do your job any better. There's some education on how the procedures and how the criminal justice system works, and some of the constitutional laws and stuff like that. So this is basic, really light on that stuff. I think it should have been heavier on the Constitution and law, and a little heavier on practical things. Like, why can't they offer hand-to-hand combat training classes in these colleges when people are studying criminal justice? Why can't that be a mandatory class? That makes more sense to me than talking about Karl Marx and all this other stuff. Weaver, anyway. Why not a gun class? I know. Teach you how to become somewhat proficient with firearms. This is practical stuff regarding just a class dedicated to like the jail system, not just uh, theory. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds there. Colleges aren't really designed for that. They're just designed to get you to get into debt. They're designed to get your money. They're going to get the government money. You get yourself into debt, and they get the money from whoever loans you the money. That's how it really works. All right, let's talk about what's going on in Ukraine. Okay, long story short, Russians are now targeting the rail systems in Kharkov. Now they're dealing with a situation in the missile system. That's something that the West gave Ukraine, and Ukraine's been given the green light to go ahead and use that for the Kerch Bridge. They've been given the green light to target certain areas in Crimea. That's the area that the Russians took over in 2014 after the U.S. overthrew the Russian government. The Ukrainian government, and replaced it with a pro-friendly government, pro-Western government. Anyway, the Russians. This is a really interesting story. Foreign Affairs. Hundreds of dead NATO soldiers and officers in Ukraine. Apparently, these Western air systems are so complicated that they need Western personnel to operate them. And according to War News 24/7, a lot of Westerns have been killed. A lot of Western people from Europe have been killed trying to operate these machines because the Russians, of course, have targeted them because they're operating air defense systems. We're going to get dragged into this, maybe. I think we're more likely to be dragged into the situation with Israel. And unfortunately, as that happens, it's going to just fuel more hatred. And I'm still convinced that they're going to, at a certain point at the convention, they're going to replace Joe Biden. And they're going to find some way to stop Donald Trump from becoming president of the United States. You can interpret that any way you want. I don't think they're going to let him physically walk into the White House. That's my prediction. Those are two of my predictions for this year. All right, guys. Share your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And don't forget, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Biden, he's in trouble. He's in some real trouble. And I'm concerned about how he's going to handle it. Is this guy going to try to drag us a war? Maybe that's how he prevents the party from replacing him at the convention. What do you think?